And I'm recording the video. Here we go. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 860. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. You can watch all the videos. I post them up after every show. And the YouTube channel is just youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS. And please don't forget while you're there to click subscribe. I would really appreciate it. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call. If you are an MSP or an IT professional, this is the must-have remote access for your customers. Instant House Call provides unattended and on-demand remote access, and you can try it free by clicking the link on my website right on the left-hand side at miketechshow.com and use the promo code MikeTechShow for your free 15-day trial. Kick the tires, check it out, and then come back and purchase it. You will love it. You can also go directly to instanthousecall.com. This show is also brought to you by MagnusBox. Simply the best online backup service for your clients. It's easy to become a partner, and there's lots of perks, and there's some specials going on right now. If you sign up and recommend that you heard it on the Mike Tech Show, you will get $100 credit on your first bill. You're going to get free white labeling, and your first 3 months, the platform fee is half price. That's right. And if you're an existing partner and you recommend someone that becomes a partner, you will get $100 credit, and so will the new partner. You can't beat this. This is the way to go. For all your backup needs, every operating system supported: Windows 10, Windows 11, Linux, Mac, Synology, Office 365, and SharePoint. You heard me talk a couple weeks ago. My one client has all their SharePoint sites backed up because I don't trust Microsoft. So you want to make sure that that is being backed up. You got to try it. Go to magnusbox.com. And don't forget, you heard it on the Mike Tech Show. All right. Let's get into tonight's show. I have an internet story from the trenches that we just lived through yesterday. And I'm going to talk about the diagnostic process that my son went through and that I went through with the client and my son on site. And then what was the real problem when we've eliminated everything else. Then I have some utilities that and some programs, some websites that I'm going to talk about that Microsoft PC Manager, ChromeOS Flex, SnapDrop, and TinyWow. So I got lots of little things to talk about. So let's just jump right in. And the first story, I get a call yesterday from one of the partners at a CPA firm. And he goes, Mike, I need to reboot the internet router because we're having intermittent problems. He says the Wi-Fi works, but nobody wired works. We're having all sorts of little issues. So I said, okay, so you might, So I walk him through where to go. They have Comcast, so it's the business routers marked Xfinity. And I tell him where the power plug is, and I said, unplug it, plug it back in, It's going to take 10 or 15 minutes, though. Give it some time before it syncs up. All right. He calls me back in a half hour. He says, we're still having problems. Things seem to work for a couple minutes, but now they're back down. I said, so wireless works, but not wired. I said, so that sounds like it's some of the switches. So I want you to bounce all the switches and then let me know. Bounces them, calls me back, still has a problem. So my son had just finished up the morning at a client that we visit every Wednesday. We're on site. It's our biggest account. And he's finished up and he's heading back to the office. And I said, no, I said, you're going to head to King of Prussia. I said, I need you to go to our CPA firm. They're having all kinds of network issues. So figure out what's going on and start from the perimeter. And he knows this. And I'm just reminding him anyway. You start from the router and start testing and go back. So they have an untangle firewall. Then they have switches. They have the Comcast modem. So the first thing you want to do is we have our test gear. You want to plug into a port on the back of the modem. Make sure you get out. Make sure you get an IP address. Make sure it works. And we have our link splitter that he can easily test. Then go to the back of the untangle firewall. Make sure you got, then go to each of the switches. Start working your way back. He did that and got mixed results, which was very interesting. After trying to reboot the switches, rebooted the untangle firewall, made sure I could get to it remotely, and I'm watching traffic pass through. The IP addresses are correct. Everything looks good. Still having trouble with the wired connections. They have a peer server that I try to remote into. I couldn't remote into it. But then there was a time that I could, and it was only 5 minutes. So this was intermittent. Once I said, Michael, unplug everything from the back of the Comcast router. Take your laptop, plug into one of the ports, make sure you get an IP address, make sure you get out. Guess what? He couldn't get out. This was one of those times where he couldn't get out. I said, I think there's something wrong with the Comcast router. Call Comcast. So that takes time. So finally I get a call back. And he said, Dad, start checking everything. Can you access the server and access the firewall? They had to send a signal to reinitialize the modem. There was a problem because after that, everything was fine. And it's interesting. I mentioned this very first when my client called me. I said, did anyone call Comcast just to make sure there's no outage? Because you can save yourself a lot of headaches. And there's a few lessons here because I don't have their info because they're not a retainer client. And a retainer client that's on a monthly billing cycle or quarterly, mainly for us, I make sure I have a copy of their phone bill, whoever their phone provider is, and their internet provider. And I have that bill, a copy of it on file. Because if you ever call tech support, you got to prove who you are. You got to have that account number. You got to have the correct address, the correct phone number that the account is registered under. There's so much info you need. And even he didn't have that at his disposal. So that's why it took time. He really didn't want to call. But my son, once he called, got that done, that's it. Everything's good. And it's still running well. So, and he gave it like another hour waiting to make sure everything has settled down and everything is working. But the 2 lessons there, make sure you have all the account info. And you know what? Call the internet provider first. That should really be the first call, because they can send the signal and that might have just fixed everything right there. Or they'll tell us, hey, there's an outage going on. There's a little outage. Just hang in there, and everything will be up and running. So my internet story and a reminder of what to try when you're diagnosing so you can save time. It's like when a system is slow, make sure there's no malware. Run adware cleaner or super anti-spyware or rogue killer. Just run it to get that out of the way before you start diagnosing everything else. So there's a few simple things like, if things are really slow and you have a problem, we sometimes forget to run Crystal Disk Info and check the hard drive. There could be a hard drive issue. So you got to remember the simple things first. So now I want to talk about a Microsoft program that I ran into that I did not even know existed. And I am going to share my screen. And this is Microsoft PC Manager. It's in beta. I never heard of it. I was like, how does this slip by me? And once you download and install, as you notice, I have it running already, and I will minimize that. Gives you a lot of great info. So right now, memory usage, and you can see it's 28%. Temporary files, there we go, 3 gig. A health check. Check now to protect your PC. You have storage management and what's available. You can do a deep clean, manage large files, manage apps, storage sense, automatically clean up temporary files. Let's go back. It's a cute little utility. Hey, startup apps. You can just click this and then click on or off for starting up. Pretty simple. Very nice. Process management. Hey, what's running? You can end a process just by clicking end. Pretty fast. Settings. I don't start this automatically when I sign in, but I do want it to auto update. And it's funny. I downloaded this today and just ran it for a couple minutes, and there was already an update. So I leave the auto update. Since it is beta, they're going to be making a lot of changes. And it's very simple to use. I don't know what Boost is. I think it's to help. It will tweak booting up to make sure you're booting faster. Let's look at security. And there's a Windows update available. Browser protection. If we scan for threats, let's see this. So it's doing some scanning right now. Let's see. I haven't even ran the scanner, so we're doing this live. It's a key system locations, startup apps, browser extensions, frequently used apps, background services, hardware drivers, miscellaneous. That's all I need to do is have it. We're going to cancel and just click done just in case it doesn't mess up my broadcast here. So this is interesting. Windows updates. I want to click it, but I don't want to click it. I'm going to click it. All right. So we got virus definitions and this Dell monitor, which, by the way, I have no Dell monitors hooked. So you could just check and uncheck the updates. Hey, I like that. Very simple. Kind of interesting. Clean up. Boost. I'm going to click boost. Oh. Performance boosted. Let's see. I'm still on the air, and I'm still recording. Yeah, boy, that that took guts to do that live while I'm doing the show. Anyway, cute little utility, and I wanted to let you know that that's available. So give it a try. All right, what do we got here? What's next? Okay, so I want to know who has tried the ChromeOS Flex. This is the Chrome operating system where you have an old system. I have to do this. We have some old computers or old laptops. I need someone to try this out and report on it. Have you used it? It's very simple to do, and I'm going to have the links. There's a great link here that I'm putting in the chat, and it'll be and of course that Microsoft link will be in the show notes. But this is to prepare for installation. You can create a USB installer, and if you're running the Chromebook recovery utility or if you're not, and this is a link that I'm going to have in the show notes for the Chromebook recovery utility. And of course, it's available for Chrome. And this is where you can create recovery media for your Chromebook. So I want to know, how is it and does it run? So you sort of take some old hardware and make it a Chromebook. A great way to deploy and use some old laptops, because let's face it now, we're going to be coming to the end of life for Windows 10. We already know security updates for Windows 8.1 and Windows 7. So some of those systems that can only run that and can't run anything newer, hey, we got another alternative. You always got Linux, but for the typical user, that's not practical, but everybody can use a Chromebook. And what a way to use some old hardware and resurrect it. I always like that. As a matter of fact, that's what got me into playing with Untangle, was using the free Untangle distribution, the Linux distribution, and just installed that on old hardware to play with a firewall. So give that a try. I'm going to have a couple links again in the show notes. Something else I'm going to have, and I'm not going to display it. I haven't tried it because I have to download the iPhone app and the iPad app, and they have an Android, and then you can go to the website SnapDrop, a way to quickly transfer files back and forth from devices and Windows and Mac. So SnapDrop, I'm going to have a link to the website. Another thing to give a try and check it out. And then now this utility that it's a website of every utility that you can think of in terms of making your life just a little easier. I might have mentioned this once. I'm not sure. It is called TinyWow. Just tinywow.com. And what you can do is everything. You have PDF tools, image tools, video tools, AI Write, file tools. AI Write's interesting. This is where you go paragraph writer and you have the generated artificial intelligence generated by, let's pick a topic, baseball. I have not done this yet. So we got baseball, and then tone of voice, casual, generate. Click I am not a robot, and use the generated content as you please. So it's generating information on baseball. So it's taking a lot of time here. See, that's another thing. These these AI chats are being just crushed. So real quick, and then you can download it. Baseball is a classic American game that has been around since the mid 1800s. It's a sport that involves two teams playing 9 innings, and you get the picture. So, I mean, I just picked something simple as an example, and that's just one link here on TinyWow. We have remove backgrounds, JPEG to PDF, split a PDF, lots of PDF and writing utilities and conversion tools. Something to add to your arsenal. Another link to just, hey, something to make our life easy. So that is it for tonight's show. I just had a few things I wanted to talk about. I have been busy, not just with work, but with baseball. And anybody that follows me on Facebook sees I was at the game on Saturday, and I want to say hello to Joe, who's a listener, who's also a Drexel grad. It was a Drexel meetup at the Phillies game on Saturday. Had a great time, and met some new people who were graduates, and a lot of us are all, well, I'm not retired, but a lot of the grads I met are retired and living in this area, or they're snowbirds like me. And I was at the game Tuesday. I can't wait next week, another couple games. I still have 8 more games to go to this spring training. I'm a baseball fanatic. I really am, and I love it. And it's one of the reasons I'm in this area. So having a great time. Last Thursday, the show was early because I had an incident with my right shoulder, but it is doing great. It is not broke. The pain has almost completely went away. So I am very, very, very fortunate. No show next week because I'm entertaining. My oldest son's going to be down here, and we got 2 games to go to, a beach to go to, and all sorts of things. We're going to hopefully the clients, no projects or anything happening next week, but we're going to try to handle everything remote. If there was a crisis, I do have a place to call that can fill in for us if there was an emergency that required somebody on site. So you kind of have to have that. Even those guys, even if you're by yourself doing this, you have to have that. So that's it for tonight's show. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I wanted to go over that diagnostic story. I had these utilities kind of floating around in sites that I wanted to share, and hopefully you'll be more productive. And let's see, next week's the 9th, and then I will be back the 16th, the day before St. Paddy's Day. So, and then the 17th, my middle son comes down. So, and then we have a music festival on the 18th that we're going to, and then another ball game on the 19th, and then another ball game a couple days after that. So I'm excited. I got my visitors keeping me company down here in Florida, and this will be every March, I see. So I want everybody to think, when my family and even clients, and they look and they go, oh, it's March. That means Mike Smith's either at a Phillies game or on a golf course or at the beach or at a pool. That's the month of March, and actually like the end of February a little bit. So it started earlier. That's it. And I will see everybody back here in 2 weeks. Everybody take care. Stay safe. Please support the sponsors. Just check them out. Even if you haven't, used it. Hey, do a demo. Try the free trial of Instant House Call. Try the demo of Magnus Box. And Fabs Auto Backup 7 Pro. Don't forget. We use that all the time to transfer files from one system to another. That's it. Bye-bye, everybody.